Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutiraye. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, in this way, gloriously, we completed the overview of the first canto of Bhagavatam. As I said earlier, Srila Prabhupada has given almost everything in the first canto. So, we would request devotees to start reading Bhagavatam on a regular basis. This is Bhagavat, another name for Bhagavatam is Bhagavat Rachita, which means directly spoken by Krishna. And Amalam Puranam, Nimne Ghanam Yatha Ganga Devanam Achyuto Hari, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho Purananam Idam Tata. Among the flowing rivers, Ganges is the topmost. Nimne Ghanam Yatha Ganga. Devanam Achyuto Hari. Among the worshipable beings, Hari is the topmost. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho. Among the Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva is the greatest. Purananam Idam Tata. Among Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost. There was a young girl in Germany. When Prabhupada was there, she was distributing a lot of books in the traffic signals. She used to distribute so many hundreds of books in traffic signals, and she became an expert. You know, she's a German girl. So hardly 1 or 2 minutes the vehicles will stop at the signals, and it will be like, 49, 47, 46, something like that. And she will rush and she will knock the windows, windshield, whatever. And within few seconds she will try to explain. So what trick she used to follow is, she will simply drop the book in their lap, in their hands. Because Prabhupada has written in the introduction of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, the moment a living entity touches this book, his spiritual life begins. So she took that line very seriously. So what she will do, she will simply drop the book in their hands and she will start speaking. But what she can speak in few seconds, by the time she says, hi, hello, 10 seconds will run off. And when the time it's like, 18, 15, 12, 10, and people become restless, they don't pay attention. But she used to distribute books, hundreds of books within seconds. And Prabhupada was very happy about her. After some days, Prabhupada got news, a vehicle ran over her in the signal and she died. Very young girl she was. And Prabhupada had tears in his eyes. And Prabhupada said this girl went back to Godhead because she was carrying Bhagavatam when she left her body. And Prabhupada also said, I carried Bhagavatam and came to your country, and I had 2 heart attacks in the ocean. And Krishna simply protected me because I carried Bhagavatam. So, it is the glory of carrying Bhagavatam. Imagine what if a person is reading Bhagavatam daily. So this is the vow. These are all the important commitments a devotee takes. You know, in my place, in our place, Kerala, I'm in Kerala, there is a temple called Tirukottiyur. It's a Lord Shiva's temple. Around 500 years back, there was a great devotee in Kerala, a Brahmana called Pundanam, a Brahman. He used to sing Bhagavatam so beautifully, and people used to flock around him in hundreds listening to Bhagavatam from him. And he was invited in a temple to recite Bhagavatam. And he was reciting there and explaining, and he will keep bookmark. And every day he was reciting, that from Rukmani Harana chapters, how Rukmani was kidnapped. Please don't try this at home. How Krishna kidnapped Rukmani so beautifully. So he was reciting that chapter again and again. And he used to keep bookmark and he used to leave. And next day he will come, he will open the bookmark, it will be in the old place. So he will read the same chapter again. It went on for days again, and he was wondering why the bookmark is getting changed. And he will feel, okay, some devotees wanted to listen to that same place. So he was going on explaining the same thing again and again and again for at least 2 weeks. Then he finished reciting one day, left his book, everything. He forgot his chadar, everything, Angavastra, and he went home. Halfway, this Brahmana, I forgot my chadar, I forgot my book, everything. And he came running back to the temple. By the time temple was closed. And he could hear yelling and screaming and somebody wildly laughing like that. Some Rakshasa, some demon kind of laugh. And screaming and yelling and some kind of merry festival, something is going on. He got scared. Who is screaming inside a temple like this? Then he peeped in. He saw Lord Shiva on the Vyasasana reciting Bhagavatam. And Ganesha, Subramanya, Parvati, Mother Parvati, and all the ghosts are sitting and laughing, listening to how Krishna kidnapped Rukmani. All the ghosts became so happy, and they were screaming and yelling and jumping upside down, and Lord Shiva is reciting. And he was shocked, and he patiently heard Lord Shiva is so beautifully speaking Bhagavatam. Then he asked Parvati, how do you feel? And Parvati said, my Lord, Bhagavatam is so nectarian, but the Brahmana was reciting better than you. So Lord Shiva said, yes, I know that. That's why I was changing the bookmark every day. I wanted to hear the same thing from him. So even today in that Shiva temple, every day they will recite the same chapter of Krishna kidnapping Rukmini. So the book which you are holding is not a favorite book of just humans alone. It's a favorite book of all the gods and devas. So, please make a plan to study Prabhupada's books every day. This is the commitment a serious devotee takes. Let me read every day half an hour without fail, 1 hour without fail, and if I don't get time, nowadays you get all the audio books, everything you get nowadays, this online thing is like a kalpavriksha. You have all kinds of facilities. You want to hear Bhagavatam, you have a particular audio book, the whole thing it will recite. And you want to read a particular shloka, you will get some 25 Maharajas explanation on the same shloka. So there are so many facilities. So have Bhagavatam, and anyway Bhadra Purnima is going to come. It's a wonderful opportunity. Please possess a copy or give it to your dear ones, friends. If you really want to help somebody, this is a genuine help. Giving away Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada used to be very happy. Just Prabhupada came back to Mumbai and 5th canto of Bhagavatam was just published. Hot book. Right from the press. And only few copies have come, and first copy is given to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada saw the pictures and he read one or two lines and he was happy. He was very humbly putting it on his head, worshipping Bhagavatam. And a rich man came to meet Prabhupada. He was not interested in Bhagavatam also. He just came to meet Swamiji. And the first hot book, that man paid some donation to temple in Juhu, Bombay. Prabhupada immediately gifted that book to that man. The devotees were like, Prabhupada, that's a first book, that's a first copy. They don't want to say that in front of the donor, but they were saying, that's the first copy you have, let us keep it here. We can give him later. Anyway, he's not so seriously interested. Prabhupada said, I know this is the first copy. The joy of distributing Bhagavatam, only a realized man will understand, he said, and he gave it to that life member, the donor. So this book is Amalam Puranam. Radha Krishna Swarupa is packed in hardbound. There is a temple in Vrindavan where they worship Bhagavatam on altar and there are no deities there. There is a temple like that. Simply Bhagavatam is kept on the altar and they do arati, offering, everything, no deities. Because there is no difference. So, please make a point that we read Prabhupada's books regularly. We distribute this joy to others. When you distribute, it multiplies. Imagine, you heard the class today. Like today we attended satsang. Some 2-3 points you liked in the satsang. What you will do? Immediately we will call somebody, we will send that to someone, we will inform someone, share it with someone. Like in our younger days, we used to watch a movie, and if I like the movie, I come back and call 10 people, you go and watch this, that. We automatically become promoters of the movie because you know that you liked it. So now we have Amrita, so at least we take an effort. So please take part in this Bhadra Purnima Seva. It is a great opportunity and Krishna will see how much effort you have done, you have put inside. It's very important. Okay? So now, we wanted to discuss Gajendra Moksha. It is one of the important aspect of Bhagavatam, which has got a beautiful lesson for us to practice in the entire life. Gajendra Moksha. It is very important. Okay. Gajendra, in his previous life, he was Maharaja Indradyumna. Not that Indradyumna from Jagannath Puri. This is a different Raja called Indradyumna. And one day he realized this material world is meaningless. I am getting trapped again and again in all this material entanglement. So one day Maharaja Indradyumna had a great realization. And he just gave up his kingdom and went to forest and started meditating. He was meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. He was meditating on Paramatma. At that time, the great sage Agastya came by with thousands and thousands of his students, disciples. And he saw Maharaja Indradyumna sitting and meditating with closed eyes and not paying respects. He was not paying respects to Agastya. So Agastya was wondering, what is this man, so arrogant, egoistic, let me go out of the topic for a short break, 5 minutes. There is a beautiful scale explained in Upanishad, how to identify whether I have got ego or not. It's a self-checklist. You can identify. There are 2-3 questions you can ask yourself, and if you get the answer, you can find out whether you have got ego or not. Question number 1, exaggeration. Suppose we get stuck in the traffic for 10 minutes. Oh, Prabhuji, why are you so late? Or what to tell you? I was in the traffic for 1 hour. All my time got wasted in the traffic. Actually, he got stuck only for 10 minutes. But he came and said, I got stuck for 1 hour. Okay, today there was a wonderful satsang. How many people attended? Actually, 25 people attended. Oh yeah, some 50 people were there. The whole place was packed, you know. So this is one sign of ego, exaggerating. On the opposite, a humble person, he will, even though it's a big thing, extraordinary thing, he will present in a simple way. But an egoistic person, he will present the ordinary thing in an extraordinary way. He will exaggerate. For example, Hanuman, somebody has to remind Hanuman and tell him that you are great. Then only, yeah, I am great. That's how he will remember. He will forget his greatness. So egoistic people will exaggerate. They will show themselves larger than life. I am this, okay, I am great. You know, that is one sign of egoistics, ego. And the second thing, they will never accept their mistake. Always try to put the blame on somebody else. Prabhuji, you look very fat. He's eating, no control, keeps on eating and he became fat. And he is telling, no, my shirt became small, as though the shirt was in cupboard and suddenly it became small or something like that. He never accepts that I grew fat. He puts the blame on the cloth, the dress became small. Like normally we say in India, sometimes there will be thorn on the road and we will be limping and somebody will ask, what happened to you? And we will say, the thorn came and pricked me. As though the thorn was searching for this person, came running and pricked him. Actually, he went and stabbed the thorn, but he will never say, I stabbed the thorn. He will say, the thorn, mullu kuttirche, as though it came running and looked for him, searched for him and pricked him or something like that. Put the blame on someone else. Right? So these are, anyway, that's a big question. Anyway, these are the two important signs by which we can understand whether we are egoistic or not. And I am sure no devotees in Satsanga has got ego. They are wonderful, humble, meek devotees. So there is no point in elaborating this. So let us go back to Maharaja Indradyumna. So Agastya saw this person sitting on the street, in the jungle, and not paying respects to Agastya. And Agastya is following with 10,000 disciples. The ego of Agastya got pricked. You slip and fall inside your bathroom, washroom. You hit your head against the wall and somebody knocks, are you okay? Is everything fine? Then you say, yes, I am okay. You keep rubbing your head and you come out. In an assembly of 30 members, you trip and fall in front of them and your head got a hit from the wall. You got pain in two instances. Which pain is severe? In the bathroom or in the hall in front of people? We will experience more pain in the hall when we trip in front of people, because it is not only physical pain, your ego is questioned. I became a failure in front of 30 people. I lost my balance. That was a shameful thing. So that pain is more severe than you fell all alone when nobody watched you. That's why the pain in the mind, the pain created by ego is 100 times severe than the pain created by body. So when Agastya was not respected in front of thousands of people, his own students, that's why people used to say, you could have questioned me in private. Why did you question me in front of others? That too juniors. They are coming for satsang only for the last 2 weeks and he's not even started chanting and you are blaming me in front of them. We used to feel bad because our ego is questioned. So Agastya felt very bad. Then Agastya cursed Indradyumna, saying that, you are sitting like a mad elephant, not paying respects to me. All of a sudden you became a great saint or what? Till yesterday you were a king. So I curse you to become an elephant. And Maharaja Indradyumna opened his eyes after hearing that curse. Maharaja Indradyumna. And that's where the beautiful lesson lies. Maharaja Indradyumna started deeply thinking, why did this man curse me? And Agastya is not a normal person. He is a great Mahatma, great sage. Why did he curse me? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't realize that he is passing by. So very deeply Indradyumna thought, and he came out with two answers. One, this must be my previous janma karma. Papam. Kritam papam. What he said? It says, Purva janma kritam papam vyadhi rupena jayate. Whatever bad things we do in our previous life will turn into disease. So he was thinking, definitely this must be some papa karma which I have done in my past life, some bad karma. Otherwise, why this great Mahatma should come and curse me? I don't have any interaction with him. Or the second reason is, it is Krishna, Lord's Leela. Lord had selected me as an instrument in the Leela. In either way, I am happy with this. One is, if it is karma, I am very happy all my bad karma will get over. If it is Krishna Leela, I am very happy because Lord has chosen me. Either way it is true. It is good for me. So he got up, went to Agastya. Sashtang pranam he did. He paid his obeisances. And he said, "Oh great sage, thank you so much for cursing me." So if somebody is blaming you, finding fault at you, scolding you, you should go and say, "Prabhuji, yesterday you were scolding me, na? It was so nice. Okay, thank you so much." That is what Agastya did. Indradyumna did. He came with two reasons and he said, "Thank you." And Agastya was like taken aback, shocked. I cursed this person. Still he is thanking me. So definitely he is a great personality. He is a sadhu. He is a, unnata. He is like, very important, very progressed personality. So he said, "Oh great King Indradyumna, anyway, I can't take back my curse. I did a mistake by cursing you. But one thing I can do. You will definitely take birth as elephant. But in that lifetime, Narayana will personally come, hold your finger and take you back to Vaikunta." Now, is this a curse or a blessing? It is a blessing. Who converted the curse into blessing? Gajendra, Indradyumna, because of his self-composure, because of his spiritual knowledge, he converted the curse into blessing. Imagine if we were there and Agastya is cursing us to become elephant. What we will do? You will become elephant. Your father will become elephant. Whole dynasty will become. We will curse Agastya back. Can you put out fire by dropping more fire on that? If we want to put off fire, we should become water. And that is what Indradyumna did. So whenever something wrong happens in our life, without our knowledge, and we are helpless, if it is not our fault, please think it is simply karma or Krishna's arrangement. You pray something, and if it happens, Krishna is blessing you. You pray about something, and if it is getting delayed, Krishna is testing you. You pray something, and if it doesn't happen, Krishna is telling you, "Please drop it, I have better things for you." We should simply understand either it is karma or it is Krishna Leela. Don't get angry with the immediate cause. Think about the ultimate cause, who is Krishna. There are two causes for every happening in our life. Sarva karana karanam. Two karanas, two causes. For every incident that happens in our life, we have two causes. One is the immediate cause. Another is an ultimate cause. Ultimate cause is either karma or Krishna Leela. For example, we have here on the screen Anuradha Ramaswamy couple. So imagine one day Mr. Ramasamy shouted at Anuradha Mataji for no reason. So Anuradha Mataji should not get angry with immediate cause who is Mr. Ramaswamy. Mr. Ramaswamy is immediate cause and ultimate cause is our karma or Krishna Leela. But what happens in our normal day-to-day life, we forget about the ultimate cause and we always react with the immediate cause. You know, for example, if I am supposed to get a beating by 5 o'clock evening, that's my fate. I'm going to get it definitely. If I am on the street, somebody is going to beat me. If I am at house, my wife is going to beat me. If I am at some other place, that person who is hanging around is going to, but definitely at 5 o'clock I am going to get a beating. Because ultimate cause is karma. So whenever a bad thing happens in our life, please understand, it is my karma or it is arrangement of Krishna. To always understand this and get along, we have to have a very good Vaishnava company, otherwise we will miss the track. For example, now we have satsang, this is going on online. Maybe another few days you might remember these good points, you will be inspired. But again, what happens by the influence of time, it will get slowly drained out. It is a great blessings to meet wonderful personalities in our life. I told you on the first day itself, the person who has introduced you to Krishna consciousness, the man who first brought book to you, the man who first spoke about Krishna to you, about program, about given prasadam, he was sent by Paramatma in our life. And Narada speaks in Narada Bhakti Sutra, in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, that I am begging to have association of people who carry Krishna in their heart. It is like tapasya of millions of lifetime. It's not very easy to have an association. Sometimes we take it for granted. Anyway, every Sunday we keep meeting, it's not a great thing. And sometimes we give lame excuses. Okay, I'm not coming, this, that. We do all that thing. But we should understand it is a great blessing to have a genuine Vaishnava friend. A person who can guide us. And I am sure all of you have got such a devotee friend. Do you have, like we have here Vinod Satyamurthy ji. Do you have a good Vaishnava friend who guides you, helps you, speaks about Krishna, reminds you about Krishna once a while? Yeah, what's his name? Manohar Nita. See, this is a great blessings to have devotee friends, and the satsangs are very, very important. I'll tell you, this is what I can say. This is $100 question. Only that much I can pay now. $100 question. Okay. Among the Pandavas, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva. If you know the answer, you type in your chat box. Who are the best friends among the five? If you know the answer, if you type the wrong answer, you are supposed to give $100. 2, you are simply typing Arjuna. Who are the best friends among the 5? Oh, who answered that? Lakshmikant Prabhuji. Okay, now I don't have money, I can give you a virtual money. Okay, so among the Pandavas, Arjuna and Bhima were the best friends. Is the voice echoing or something? Now is it okay? Yeah. Okay, right. So among the Pandavas, Arjuna and Bhima were the best friends. That's why if you see The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it says, Bhima Arjuna, Bhima Arjuna. This term will come again and again. Bhima Arjuna. It doesn't say Yudhishthira Bhima, Yudhishthira Arjuna. It says Bhima Arjuna, Bhima Arjuna. And there is an initiated devotee in ISKCON whose name is Bhima Arjuna Das. You know, Bhima and Arjuna were very thick friends, very thick friends. And beautiful lesson, pastimes they had. Like they were all kids and Mother Kunti will put them to sleep and these two will not sleep. They'll kuch talking all night. Like kids, they don't go to sleep. Whole night they'll be talking all the time. All the others will go to sleep and Bhima and Arjuna will not sleep. They'll talking. One night Vidurji came and Kunti Maharani is crying and telling Vidur Mahatma, look at our situation. We are like beggars now in Dhritarashtra's palace, begging for his food. I lost my husband and my children are ill-treated. And she was like crying and crying. One day Bhima was so hungry and you know what Duryodhana fed him? He fed him poison to Bhima. But Bhima is so powerful, he digested poison also. So she was crying and crying and Vidura said, Kunti Maharani, please don't worry. All your 5 sons are devas. They are from heaven, especially Yudhishthira. If a drop of his tear falls on earth, Mother Earth will crack into pieces. So don't worry. As long as Yudhishthira is with you, no harm will come to you. And who is listening to this conversation? Bhima and Arjuna is listening to this conversation. Right? So years passed by and they were playing the game of dice. And Bhima was getting angry against Yudhishthira. At one point, he took his sword. I'm going to kill this Yudhishthira. Because of our brother Yudhishthira, we lost everything. We are going to jungle now. And Bhima was getting wild. So Arjuna, what he did? He pulled Bhima. Sit down. What? I'll tell you a story. You remember when we were young, we were kids, we were sleeping. What our mother told, what Vidura told to our mother? Yudhishthira is from heavenly person and he is dharma. As long as Yudhishthira is with us, no harm can affect. Can you remember that? Please keep quiet. And Bhima will keep quiet. And again Bhima will get wild, angry. All because of Yudhishthira. And Arjuna said, sit down, I will tell you a story. It is, that Bhima, So whenever Bhima gets disturbed, Arjuna will remind the story and calm Bhima down. What a beautiful friend he was. This is real Vaishnava association, right? There are 2 kinds of devotees in our life, devotee friends. One is like mirror, another is like shadow. We have 2 types of friends. The shadow is the devotee who's those certain type of devotees, they will say, Prabhuji, your kirtan, no, you sang so nicely, Prabhuji. You please give me mercy, Prabhuji. You are everything, Prabhuji. This is one kind of devotee. Always appreciating. Very good. But there is another kind of devotees who will, what you did yesterday was not perfect, okay? You could have done like this. This would be better. Always finding fault. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, the devotee who is always finding fault is like mirror and the devotee who is always appreciating is like shadow. We generally like shadow more than the mirror. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I like mirrors more than the shadow because they are always correcting me and they are my good friends. So we have these kind of Vaishnavas. So here Arjuna, when our Bhima goes down, Bhima gets angry, Bhima gets disturbed, immediately Arjuna will enter and protect Bhima. Such a wonderful relationship. And once Arjuna got a curse to become eunuch, neither man nor woman. He was cursed by Urvashi. Imagine, for a person like Arjuna, he could not digest that. Nowadays, many ladies are wearing men's dress and walking on the street. No problem. Mataji is wearing men's clothes and they're walking on the street. Will a Prabhuji wear sari and walk on the street? Will he be comfortable wearing a sari and walking on the street? Is that possible? Right? It will be very uncomfortable. He can't digest, he can't accept. Imagine Arjuna walking for 1 full year as a eunuch. He was very deeply disturbed and he got so wild. He took his astra and said, I'm going to kill Yudhishthira now. And all because of Yudhishthira. He went and played the game of dice. I told him not to play. I told him to consult Krishna. He did not listen to me. I am going to kill. Because of him, we lost everything. Arjuna was getting wild. And Bhima said, Arjuna, I will tell you a story. Come sit here. Then Bhima said, do you remember we were kids, we were sleeping, Then Arjuna calmed down. This is Satsanga. What a wonderful friendship they had, Bhima and Arjuna. The moment one person goes out of the way, immediately the other one pulls. The devotees whom we have in our lifetime, they are sent to in our life by Krishna. We are blessed to have them. And finally, when I leave my body, they will come, bathe my body, apply tilak on my body. They sit around me and chant Krishna's names and send me back to Vaikunta and Goloka. Can I ever repay the debt? It is not done by our relatives. My friends, my brothers, my sisters, if they are not devotees, they are not going to do that. They are going to come and sit and talk something else. But the devotees are the people, they will come, sit around me, bathe me, wear kantimala around my leg, apply tilak on my body and chant and read Bhagavatam and send me back to Godhead. I can never repay the debt. So having Vaishnava friends in this lifetime is an amazing blessing. So please don't miss the satsangs. Utilize it as much as possible. Get benefited. Initially we take satsang, we get purified. Then we distribute it to others. And we add members to Vasudeva Kudumbakam, the family of Lord Vasudeva, the one eternal family. Right? It's such a great thing to have devotees in our lifetime. That's why satsanga is very, very important. Okay? Right. So next we move to other sections. So, Jaya Jaya Bhagavata Deva Jaya Jaya Bhagavata Jaya Jaya Radha Krishna Swarupa Jaya Jaya Bhagavata Deva Jaya Jaya Bhagavata. Yesterday I spoke about Jaydeva and Padmavati. I said they are the only couple who continue in spiritual world as husband and wife. Because we don't know about normal human beings. They are the only couple who continue. And Jaydeva, when he was 5-year-old, it's a beautiful Leela. And one amazing thing about Jaydeva Goswami, Jaydeva and Padmavati is, all the sampradayas in Vaishnava sampradayas unanimously accepted Jaydev Goswami. If you go to Badrinath, every day they sing Jaydeva's Ashtapati and put Badrinath to sleep. You go to any South Indian temples, they will sing Jayadeva's Ashtapati. You go to Jagannath Puri, they will sing Jayadeva's Gita Govinda. You go to Dwaraka, in all over India, all some Sri Vaishnavas, ourselves, Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Rudra, everyone unanimously accepts this one particular Acharya who is Jaydev Goswami. Even in ISKCON, we sing Jaydev Goswami's songs. Do you remember which song is that? We sing every day Jaydeva's song. Anyone who remembers which song is that? Sung Yes, Narsimha Pranam, Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam. It is written by Jaidev Goswami. So all Vaishnava Sampradayas all over the world, they all accepted Jaidev Goswami unanimously. And when he was 5-year-old boy, an amazing lesson, happily, he will run to Gurukula. He was so interested in studies. So one day, Jaideva's father, a poor farmer, Brahman, so he met the Guru and said, I am so happy, my dear teacher. You are teaching so beautifully. My son never misses your class and he is waiting for the day to begin and he rushes to Gurukula. I am so happy that you are teaching him so nicely. And the teacher said, Sarvanash, the day your son came and joined my Gurukula, I have closed it down. Neither he attended the class, nor he allowed anybody else to attend the class. None of them are coming to the class and I'm on begging. I have closed my school down. Then the father was like shocked. Every day he is running out of house saying that he is going to school. Where is he going? Then when he came back home, one farmer was standing crying and said, Jaydev's father, oh Brahmana, you know what your son did? Then he asked what he did. He and all his friends, they used to come to my paddy field, my banana, the plantain grew, and they were performing Leela, Ramayana stories. Every day they come and perform Leela. Okay, so what's wrong? They are just playing. What to tell you? Yesterday's Leela was Lanka Dahanam. They're burning the Lanka. So they burnt whole of my plantain grove. So father got wild. He called Jaidev, 5-year-old boy. What are you doing? What do you think of yourself? You are disturbing others. What is there in Ramayana and Bhagavad so much? Why are you so attracted to it? And he said, Vyasadeva has given beautiful lessons in Bhagavatam. Have you seen Vyasadeva? What kind of blind faith you are having? Father said that. Then 5-year-old Jayadeva said, my dear father, I will tell you a story. In a street there were 10 houses. All the 10 houses had dogs in their house. And one day, a thief entered the first house. And the first dog saw the thief and barked. Immediately the second dog barked, but the second dog did not see the thief. Again, third dog barked, and all the 10 dogs barked. But 9 of them had not seen the thief, only the first dog saw the thief. All the 9 dogs had so much faith in the first dog. If dogs can have so much faith on the first dog, why can't I believe Vyasadeva? When 5-year-old boy said this, Jayadeva's father, closed his mouth and walked away. This was Jayadev. This was his conviction on Bhagavatam, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And he took sannyas. Jayadeva decided that I will take sannyas. I will renounce everything and I will dedicate my life in the service of Krishna. And he was praying to Jagannath in Puri. In front of Jagannath, he is standing and praying. A young Jayadev. Tejasvi, glowing, brilliant Jayadev, mastered in scriptures, and not much. He has written only 3 crore songs about Krishna. That's all. Very less. Only 3 crore songs about Krishna. We are going to give you all a paper and pen and we are asked to write a poem about Krishna now within the next 10 minutes. I know you will be struggling to even write one line. Jayadev wrote crores of poems, millions of poems, so beautiful, nectarian. And he was young, Jayadev was praying to Jagannath. And in front of Jayadev, another man is standing, elderly Brahmana, and is praying to Jagannath and saying, Jagannath, I'm getting very old. I don't have money to get my daughter married. Please bless me that my daughter should get married to a qualified person. And Jagannath is telling, oh Brahmana, right behind you the man is standing, get him married to your daughter. And the Brahmana turned back and there is nobody, only one sannyasi standing there. So he said, Jagannath, there is a sannyasi standing, nobody else. Then Jagannath told, yes, give your daughter in marriage to that sannyasi. What? I will give my daughter to a sannyasi? Then yes, that's my order, you go and approach him. Then the Brahmana went and said, oh great sannyasi, will you marry my daughter? That is Jagannath's order. So Jayadev said, see, I don't have anything, not a single penny. I completely depend on Lord's mercy. As per Jagannath's order, if I marry your daughter, I doubt that I can maintain her happily. I don't have anything to give. Then the Brahmana turned and told Jagannath, see, he is refusing. And what he says is true. How will I get my daughter married to him? Then Jagannath said, he is speaking the truth, so don't worry, give your daughter to him, because in Kali Yuga people are all cheating. He is speaking the truth, you give your daughter. So he gave his Padmavati in marriage to Jayadeva. One beautiful thing about Jayadev and Padmavati is, there is no secret between them. Swakarya. There is no secret. Because, there is always something private in a family. Sometimes we go to a family and we will be preaching to the Prabhu and suddenly some vessels will be dropped in the kitchen. If the spoon falls, it's a different message to the husband. If a big big vessel falls, it's a different message. If a huge one falls, it's like a huge message. And the Prabhuji's face will change according to the noise. And he will say, Prabhu, I'll come, just a second, and he will go. There is always something private between a husband and wife. But Jayadeva and Padmavati are the only couple in the entire creation. There is nothing private for them. Because their relationship is based on Krishna. Both of them will be talking about Krishna, glorified, and there is nothing else between them. And Jayadeva is simply writing songs and depending on Krishna's mercy and living. He is not going for work or simply writing songs, and somehow Krishna will supply. And and the villagers liked Jayadeva and Padmavati so much because they're so pure people. At the same time, Jayadeva was living in poverty. He was living in poverty. And one day, he was writing, and when he wrote that Krishna is massaging Radharani's feet. Then suddenly he realized, how can I write this? How can Krishna massage Radharani's feet? Radharani is supposed to massage Krishna's feet. Then he stroked the palm leaf. And he said, he was a little disturbed. He said, Padmavati, I am going to Ganga, take a bath, dip and come. Please keep my lunch ready. And Jayadev went to Ganga. When Jayadev turned, Krishna came in the form of Jayadev and said, Padmavati, I am very hungry. You told that you are going to take a bath. I'll take bath later, you feed me. Then he ate nicely, and Krishna said, Padmavati, how do you cook this? It is so nice, give me more. And Padmavati is wondering, this man has never spoken to me like this. Give me more. What ingredients have you added in that? What is that? That is so tasty. Give me more. And he is eating so much. And Padmavati became so happy. This man has never spoken to me. And he's enjoying. And she fed everything. Krishna ate everything. And Krishna walked back. The real Jayadev came and said, Padmavati, I am very hungry. Please give me food. And she was thinking, what happened to him today? Completely gone crazy. Just now you came and ate. You see everything is empty. And Jayadev was wondering. Then immediately he ran to his palm leaves and he found Jayadev. Krishna has corrected it, saying that I massage Radharani's feet. So Jayadev became so happy. Lord came to my house. He corrected my palm leaves. He touched my, he was keeping on his head and crying and, was so happy. Suddenly he got a thought. He wrote next poem, Krishna, I am praying to you every day, every moment. You didn't give darshan to me, but you gave darshan to me, my wife alone. How is that fair? He wrote another song. Is that fair? How can you give darshan only to Padmavati? And next day, Padmavati is cooking her lunch. In the olden days, in Orissa, Bengal, they sit on the floor, they have that firewood stove, and they have that one thing to blow in between. blow the fire like that, and she is cooking. Krishna came, a 6-year-old boy, he came. He sat next to Padmavati, next to the stove, and he started scratching, Padmavati. And Padmavati said, "What, Lala? What, Krishna? What happened?" "I'll tell you a secret, okay?" Then Padmavati said, "What is that secret?" "Your husband is jealous about you. You be careful. He is very jealous. Krishna is trying to create a problem in between Jayadev and Padmavati." And Padmavati, like a mother, she was feeding Krishna. They used to meet Krishna personally, converse. You can understand their level of bhakti. And finally, the villagers came and said, "We can't help you anymore. You have to pay so much money to so many people here. So please leave your house. We are going to take your house." So Jayadev cried and said, "Padmavati, I am very sorry. I couldn't take care of you properly. Now we have to leave our house and I don't have anything. I'm very sorry about it." And Padmavati said, "I don't want anything in this material world. Please give me a promise that when you leave this material world and go back to Vaikunta, don't leave me alone. Please take me also with to Vaikunta with you." And both of them are leaving the house. Then suddenly Padmavati turned and ran inside the house and said, "I forgot one thing, I have to take one thing." Then Jayadev thought, "Padmavati, I thought so great about you. You are also like a normal lady attracted to money, gold, everything." Then Padmavati came running with Madhav's deity. Then Jayadev had tears in his eyes. And Jayadev told Padmavati, "I am so happy that I got you as my wife." And Padmavati came with Madhav deity. Even today, that deity is there in Jaipur. Jayadever pranadhana re Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. It's a deity of Jayadev. Even today it's there in Jaipur. In Jaipur there is a temple called Kanaka Vrindavan, and in that temple this beautiful Madhav deity is there, which was personally worshipped by Jayadev and Padmavati. So they were going, and one day they went and met the king, and the king became so happy to meet Jayadeva, such a pure soul. So Jayadev, the king, what he did, he gave tons and tons of gifts to Jayadev. And Jayadev is saying, "No, I don't want this. I don't want gold. I don't want all this. These are all burden for me." And the king is saying, "No, for my pleasure, you please take." But Jayadev refused. So what the king did, loaded tons of gold and put in his bullock cart and sent him. And Jayadev was going back home with so much of gold. 4 dacoits came. It's a story which really happened. In Orissa, 4 dacoits came, and they came, and Jayadev became so happy seeing the dacoits. He's telling, "Take this, take this bag also. There are 2 bags under the bullock cart. Take that also." And the dacoits are wondering, "We have never met anybody in our life like this." He is happily giving away everything. And even though if the dacoits forget to take something, he is telling, "Take this also, take that." And they are wondering, and they thought, he may be the spy of the king. The king would have sent him. So what shall we do? So immediately the dacoit came, the leader came and chopped Jayadeva's arms and thrown him inside a well, waterless well, without hands. And Jayadeva is crying and sang a song, "Krishna, I told you that I don't want attachment towards bangle. I don't want attachment towards bangle and ornaments. You are so merciful. You took bangles also, along with that you took hands also, because only if I have hands, I will desire for bangles. Thank you, Krishna." So he sang a song thanking Krishna. Then people located him, and king became so upset. King thought, all this happened because of me. Because Jayadev told he doesn't want gold, I forcefully gave him gifts. Because of that, he lost hands. So the king was feeling very bad. Then king made Jayadev and Padmavati live in his kingdom only. And every day king was spending more and more time with Jayadev and spending all the time with Jayadev and Padmavati. It is like sometimes Guru Maharaj comes when great Vaishnava, devotees go like honey bee around, there are when Shankaracharya used to walk, tens and thousands of disciples used to follow him. When Guru Maharaj comes, when Prabhupada ji comes, devotees used to flock around. So the king was very happy in the association of Jayadev, because I have never met anyone so pure like them. So pure. They always speak about Krishna, and when I sit and listen to them, I simply forget myself. And the king started loving them, spending more time. This irritated the queen, because king is spending all the time with Jayadev and the queen is becoming a little restless. Okay. So on king's birthday, the king called all the citizens and he was giving golds and gifts on his birthday. And the handicapped Jayadev is sitting next to him. And these 4 dacoits were coming in the queue to receive gifts from the king. The moment Jayadev saw the dacoits, Jayadev told, "My dear king, those 4 men who are coming in the queue, they are my spiritual masters. Give them as much gift as possible." And the dacoits saw the king and Jayadev is talking something about them, and they became a little suspicious and they got scared. When they came closer, Jayadev gave so many gifts to them. Take this, take this, take this. And the dacoits are wondering what's happening, giving extra. And finally Jayadev said, "Please send few people with them to carry it back to their home." Then dacoits thought, okay, they are trying to trap us. And they were going. And the securities asked, "You people don't look like spiritual people. Why our great Jayadev was patronizing you so much? Why he was favoring you so much? You people don't like spiritual men?" Then the dacoits told, "Arey, you don't know who is Jayadev. He is the leader. We are dacoits. We are murderers. And he is our leader. He has simply joined with the king so that he will kill your king at the right time and steal everything." Then the dacoits said this. Immediately Mother Earth with a huge noise cracked open and sucked the 4 dacoits inside, and earth got closed. Even today in Puri, in Jagannath Puri, 40 kilometers from Jagannath Puri, you can go to this place where another Radha Madhav temple is there. It's under a pit. Mother Earth cracked open and sucked the 4 dacoits inside, because Mother Earth could not tolerate their offending a Vaishnava, speaking so ill of a man, a great personality. Then the securities got scared. What's happening? They came running back and told the king everything. Then king asked, "Jayadev, who are they? What is this happening?" Then Jayadev told the whole story. "They are my gurus, because they severed my attachment in this material world." Then the king said, "Can someone be so pure like you? Can anyone live in this world like you? I want to accept you as my spiritual master." From that incident, king became even more attached to Jayadev Goswami. This furiated the queen. So queen one day she went and told Jayadeva's wife Padmavati, "My husband, the king, and your husband Jayadev, they went somewhere in the jungle. But unfortunately, a lion attacked your husband and your husband is dead." She spoke a lie to Padmavati. And that is the first time Padmavati felt bad in her life. With tears she cried, "Oh Prabhu, I have never asked anything in my life. What I asked was, I know you will definitely go to Vaikuntha back, but you should have taken me." Like this she prayed and she left her body. She fell down dead. Queen was shocked. She simply played a prank. She spoke a lie. But look at now. Padmavati left her body. And Jayadev came back after some time. He came to know the whole incident. And Jayadev said, "Padmavati, how could you forget me when you are going back to Godhead? I am also coming with you." And Jayadev also left his body. The king came and saw. such a big curse upon my life. I married this sinful queen, and because of the great personalities, they have left this body. What a great sinner I am. He took his sword and he killed himself. All of them dead. Then Madhavji came and said, I thought I will play Leelas with you, I can play with you, and you all left me and went. So he brought all the three back. Jayadev, Padmavati and the king. And they had so many. This is the value of association, satsanga. Having wonderful devotees in our. That's why I'm saying again and again, never miss these opportunities. Opportunities of being with devotees and Then the next one is chanting, and whenever we get seva to, services, there is a beautiful line explained in Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna had a charioteer. His name was Daruka. Krishna's charioteer Daruka. One day in Dwaraka, Daruka is like fanning Krishna. Krishna is sitting on the Singhasan and he is fanning. And while fanning, he was feeling so much of ecstasy. And Daruka is thinking, oh, I got such a wonderful opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord, the Lord of 14 planetary system. How glorious this is. He is thinking like that, and tears are coming down his cheeks, and there is romancha standing on their red hairs, and he is not able to serve properly. That is disturbing his fanning. Then Daruka spoke a beautiful shloka cursing his ananda, ecstasy. What kind of ecstasy is this? It is coming and disturbing my seva against Lord. And he was saying, even ecstasy I don't want. I want to simply serve my Lord. Lakshmi sahasra satasambrama sevyamanam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. 1,000 Lakshmis are serving Narayana in Vaikunta. Thousands and thousands of Lakshmis. One Lakshmi is doing roti, another making dal, another making chawal. All, one is cleaning. Thousands of Lakshmis. And Narada is waiting for ages and ages to get a tiny portion of that seva. But by Prabhupada's mercy, we get so much opportunity to do seva. So please, whenever you get opportunity, perform devotional service. And the most important thing is attentively chanting the holy name. The last line of Bhagavatam says, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamano Tam Namami Harim Param. There are 18,000 shlokas in Bhagavatam. And the 18,000th shloka is speaking about the holy name, and it closes. In Kalikalera Nama Rupena Krishnera Avatar. Krishna had appeared in the form of holy name in Kali Yuga. So, in every way, we are very blessed. We got Prabhupada's books, we got devotees satsang, we got opportunity for seva, and we can chant the holy name also. So please take this up very seriously and don't miss this chance. Once Guru Maharaj jokingly said, the man who lives next to the railway station will always miss the train. People who are staying far away from station will come in the right time. But the man who stays next to the station, he thinks, I can just run and jump inside the train, and he will miss the train. Right? So be in time, utilize all these blessings, don't miss it. Such a great fortune to have Vaishnavas in our life. So be very thankful. With lot of gratitude, we should continue serving Krishna. So I thank Madan Mohan Prabhuji, Arvind Krishna Prabhu, Yamuna Mataji, and all the other Vaishnavas. I don't know others personally. So I thank all of you for giving a wonderful opportunity. And I hope these sessions were of some use to you. And pray at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Shyam Sundar and Sri Krishna Balram. that you all get blessed with bhakti, and thank you so much. Hare Krishna.